let me see what I can say that is a little bit different. We're the Scandis of the bunch on the street. Simply put, we were set up almost 20 years ago to focus almost exclusively on internet and software. So we failed in every single category you can think of. But importantly, we've also had success in quite a few categories, and that confidence is in our system. And I think, whenever you do what you do and you do what we do, it's very important to live with success and failure. And I often see people that have too much of either or. In terms of the companies we've been part of, and people always want to know the winners, currently it's Spotify, and yes, we were the first guys in, and we're still the largest shareholder in that, but it's also been things like lastminute.com, Stepstone, it's Avito, it's a bunch of other things. Up in the Nordics, as you may know, we all heard about European is great. I'll just correct Sean. The Nordics is great. If you look at what the Nordics has done in the last 15 years, from Skype to now you hear about Supercell, even King comes out of the Nordics, Spotify we talked about, SoundCloud has a Nordic DNA in it. There's a whole bunch of companies up and coming that's above the $1 billion, the Unity, the Zendesk, Just Eat went public, etc. Now, apart from just boasting, why is that relevant to you? I think it's because we think that it's not that we have something in our tea up there that makes us special. It's actually more than that. It's something to do with a mindset in how you set up. I often meet entrepreneurs from here, or Germany, or France, where they set something up and they focus on the local market, which is natural, it's big, they can live off it pretty well for a couple of years, and then they'll go and expand. Linus said a little bit about it earlier, being a Swede. We think differently up there. Entrepreneurs think differently. From day one, you bring in a thinking of, it's not about Sweden, it's not about Denmark, it's about, going somewhere else. And that means your organization gets built differently. That means your product is shaped differently. Everything you set up is different. And I think that is important also, and just as relevant over here and in the US as it is up in the Nordics. And that's something we focus on. And if you had to sort of sum it up apart from internationalization, it's also a question of ambition, because you often get stuck in, just like you asked me about, why didn't I stick to my United Nations? I think the same with ambition. If you live off a market, then it's pretty hard to pull yourself out of it and say, I'll risk it all again and double down. And you often hear investors, and I heard today talk about how much they say that they want entrepreneurs to have ambition, but it's a two-way street. You need the investors to have ambition, because it's pretty easy for us to sit and say, you've done great, you signed up, your first 100 customers, why don't you just sign up another 100 customers, as opposed to saying, no, forget the next 100 customers. Let's focus on what's going to make this company truly great, and take the risk and throw the revenue out, focus on the metric that actually matters. Maybe it's land grab, maybe it's something else. That is quite rare, we find, amongst investors, and that comes down not just to your ambition, but our ambition as well, and our willingness to take the risk. And we think that makes a huge difference. So in that spirit, Northzone is an evolution. We're one of the few, I suppose, that's raised 7 funds and earned our keep through our winners. And we always say to LPs that, if you're scared of losing, don't be with us. Half of what we do is losing, and it's part of our DNA. But now we've come to a stage where we have one of the largest dedicated funds. Our last Fund 7 is over 300 million. And what it means to us is not that we just want to do later stage or bigger stage things. In fact, what it means is the freedom to have the ambition on our side. I think our current smallest investment is something like 600,000-700,000, and our largest is 30 million. The point is, your company doesn't change as you go through A round, B round. That's not what defines you. And we don't want to be defined either in the way we look for businesses. So we say, listen, if it looks like it's a winning company, then we want to be part of it, regardless of whether it's early stage or a bit later stage. But as opposed to outline the criteria of what it takes for us to invest, I think some of the people, and you mentioned it, is, it's personal. We're humans. I'm going to do maybe 2 things a year, maybe 3. If I don't have an affinity with whatever it is, if I don't connect, you shouldn't choose me and I shouldn't choose you. We're going to live with each other for 5 years or maybe longer. So in that sense, I think that really matters. And often I hear that being confused with, you'll have to hear that next time.